I love a good cup of coffee. You didn't make the coffee. I made the coffee. Hey guys. So I've been doing a lot of thinking about how I want to present this talk today, because the question we're going to be dealing with, if not set in the right context, can be really inflammatory. So let's start here. We all encounter setbacks in our life. Either you missed the promotion that you were supposed to get, you lost your job, somebody said something behind your back, you lost a friendship. I mean, all of these things in real life they hurt and they sting. And I don't want to trivialize any of these, because they are real life events and they hurt and they sting and they cause us pain. So it's not that I'm trying to say that none of these things are real, that we don't feel these things, because we do. I've had many of these happen to me multiple times throughout my life. And if you're a human, you're going to have these things happen. And there's probably more in my future too. So knowing that we are going to have these setbacks and we're going to have these things that hurt us, that sting, that cause us emotional pain, we have to be sure that we're not asking the incorrect questions, because the success in life is not asking questions, but finding the right question and asking it. So when we get hurt like this, there's a myriad of questions that begin to flood our minds because of the emotions that we're going through. Like, why did he do that? Why didn't I get the promotion? How am I supposed to deal with this now? But it's not that these questions are wrong, per se. They're just the wrong questions that we should be asking ourselves. The reason is because we all have a darker side to ourselves. No matter how cheerful you may be, there is always the other you that's out there that is creeping around in the back of your mind. And when you ask questions like this, he's sitting right there with a list of answers to say, oh, what's wrong with you? I got a long list of things that I can tell you about that. Why didn't you get the job? Let me list the items. So we can ask these questions, but they're the wrong questions. They're going to lead us to the wrong answers that we're looking for, because those answers that the darker side of us comes out with, all they do is continue to bury us in our emotions that we already have. So knowing that, and knowing that questions, the right questions, are what gets us success in life, we need to define what is the right question to be asking. And my proposition is, the right question is, but does it really matter? Now, like I said, you say that in the context of a conversation, somebody's going to probably slap you, because that's highly offensive. Somebody just got their feelings hurt. Somebody just lost a job. Somebody just had their dreams crushed. And then you come in there and say, yeah, but what does it really matter? I mean, that'll make the most peaceful of us get pretty angry. But think about it within the context of the situation. Is what you're trying to do is not ask these questions that are the wrong questions. They're going to lead you down a path with answers that all they're going to do is continually hurt you and bombard you and sink you deeper into the depression that you already feel like you're sliding into. But if you ask the right question, but does it really matter? It helps pull you up out of where you are and look at things from a more macro level. to where you're kind of taking yourself out of yourself a little bit and looking not just at yourself, but looking at your life in general. You may be saying, well, thanks, Van. Way to get off to a pretty gloomy start. Making me feel great right here. Just hold on. I'm taking us somewhere. Because where we want to get to, when these questions, when these events happen in our lives, and these questions start to bombard us on the inside, and we choose to answer the right question, not just ask the right question, but answer the right question, this is where all of those events begin to be put into their priority. Meaning that, does this event really matter? Does what that person said really matter? Because we have so much going in our lives every day. If we don't prioritize what really matters versus what doesn't really matter, then we're going to be so overwhelmed, we're not even going to know what our next step is. In fact, we will get in such a tailspin, we could get ourselves absorbed in something for months and miss out on things that could be going on. Potential new relationships or partnerships or friendships or job opportunities or whatever, because we start feeling and sinking into this negative area. If we take the approach and we ask the right question and we choose to answer the right question of does it really matter, this is where we begin to find our success. How we do this first is we first need to look back and say, what is our purpose? What are we driven to do? What is our goal? Not just, I set a goal this year for me to lose weight and look better. That's a great goal, but for your life, for what you're supposed to be doing, why you are here on earth, what are you here to do? And that may be just boiling it down to, what am I supposed to be doing? What am I this week? But ultimately, you want to get to the point of, for this season of my life, it may be to the end of your life, but this is my goal and this is my purpose. And once you find out what that is, begins to put the rest of these events into a priority where they belong. Oh, well, yeah, that sucks. And that stings. And I'm feeling the pain and hurt from that. But knowing that this is my ultimate goal, or this is what I'm purposed to do, or this is what I'm passionate about, I can find a way out because I know what I'm trying to achieve, and I just have to find a way through this. So how do we do that? Find out what your passion is, what your purpose is. Why are you here? What are you driven to do? What value do you just have exploding on the inside of you that you just want to do and create and give to others? I mean, that could be anything. But once you find out what that is, that gets you up in the morning, that gets you excited, that you are passionate about, then you find that momentum will begin to carry you forward to where, yes, you're going to have pain, you are going to have struggles, you're going to have setbacks. I achieved a goal. And if you can't remember what your passion is, take some time to think about it. Take some time to yourself to discover, what are you really driven to do? What are you really passionate about? And rekindle those flames. The second step is asking the right questions. And I've already given you one, which is the title of this talk. Does it really matter? But what does it really matter? And that is to take it in perspective of like, okay, I'm going to pull out from myself. I'm going to pull out from my current situation. And I am going to take a broader look at my life to say, okay, this event happened. It sucks. But in the grand scheme of things, how do I move forward? Do I need to take this and make this my priority thought right now that I'm going through? Or is it something that's like, yeah, it sucks, but I know where I'm supposed to be, and I know that there's things I'm going to have to go through, so I'm just going to have to keep going forward. And sometimes you just have to just trudge right through it because there is no way around. There is no alternate path. but you can do it. If you know what your passion is, these things begin to shed off a little bit easier than just sitting there and bombarding yourself of why you're not good enough. Because you are good enough. You wouldn't be here if you weren't good enough. You would not be watching this video right now if you weren't good enough. Why? Because you want to choose to change yourself. You want to do something to improve yourself so that you're better than you were yesterday. And for that, you should feel good about. And the third thing is find out how to get yourself unstuck from the area where you're stuck. And if you need help with that, I've got a link down in the description to another video that I've done that gives you 3 helpful tips to be able to help you get unstuck from these areas in your life. So once we get to these areas where we define what really is a priority in our life and evaluate everything that's happening to us based on that, it helps us understand things in a better context. So I've got a great example, and it comes from a guy named Paul that's found in the Bible. Now, some of you may not be Christians or followers of Jesus, and that's fine. You probably can still look at this and take some wisdom out of it. Just kind of put yourself in that position and see how the parts fit together. And where we're specifically talking about, Paul, in this story, he is stuck in a prison, a Roman prison, and he is in chains. He is in horrible conditions. He is actually chained to a Roman soldier. So whether he eats, he sleeps, he has to use the bath, whatever it is, and he is chained to that Roman soldier. I don't know about you, but that sounds horrible. That is a horrible way to exist. So Paul, even in this situation, finds a way to take himself out of where he is and look at the more macro picture and look at his purpose and find his way out. Here, let's read it real quick. All right, I got my iPad. So where we're reading from is the story that is in Philippians 1:15 through 18. And what it says is, "It is true that some preach Christ out of envy and rivalry, but others out of goodwill. The latter do so out of love, knowing that I am put here for the defense of the gospel. The former preach Christ out of selfish ambition, not sincerely, supposing that they can stir up trouble for me while I'm in chains." So essentially right there, what he's saying is that while he's in prison, there are people that are preaching the gospel that he's supposed to be spreading, that are doing it for the right reason. And then there's a group of people that's taking the message that he's been doing and doing it for wrong reasons and doing it out of spite of him to create trouble for him. I mean, the guy's already in prison. How much more trouble can he get into? So he goes further, and this is where it's impactful, is that it says, "But what does it matter?" See, he takes a step right there and he's like, okay, there's guys out there preaching it for the right reason. There's people out there talking about the good news that I've been spreading for the wrong reason. I could get upset. I could be furious, and I'm in a jail cell, and I've got a reason to be furious because I am chained next to a Roman soldier, and I am getting bad food. I am in a dungeonous area. I am in a Roman prison, which is no fun at all. And there's guys out there taking what I have done, what I have brought and tried to help people with, and they're taking advantage of it. And he could get furious of it, but he chooses not to. He pulls back and looks at his situation, as bad as it is, and says, but what is my purpose? And so that's where he says, but what does it matter? And here he gets to the purpose. The important thing is that in every way, whether from false motives or true motives, Christ is preached, and because of this, I rejoice. Now, like I said, you may not be a Christ follower or a Jesus follower, and you're like, I don't really care about things in the Bible. That's cool, but think about this from the standpoint where he is. He, like I've said before, he is in a dungeon, he is in a prison, he is chained to somebody, he has poor quality food, he's been beaten. All these things have been happening. Not only that, but the very thing that he is purpose-driven to do, the gospel which he is out there trying to help people with and spread, there's some people that are doing it for the right reason. Then he finds out there's a bunch of people out there that are doing it for the wrong reason, trying to create trouble for him. And you talk about somebody that could look at their situation and be like, this hurts, this stings, and this, why am I here? God, why did you let this happen? Why aren't you trying to do something? Why am I not good enough to where I don't get in prison so I can do the things why can't I finish the goal that I've been set for? My purpose has been stopped and blocked. I am in prison. I can't go spread the good news. And there's people out there doing it for the wrong reasons. But he doesn't do that. He takes a step back and says, you know what? My purpose in life was to spread the good news and the gospel. Well, I can't do it the way I was doing it. I'm here in this jail cell. But what I can do is I can use this jail as my ministry area. And he goes on to say later in the verses that he's gone through and he started preaching the good news in there, and there's people that started converting and started accepting the word that he was presenting. I mean, can you imagine what the guard is doing? He's watching Paul write this letter. Paul doesn't care about his current situations. Now, don't get me wrong. I guarantee you the questions that we feel of why am I not good enough? Why has this happened to me? Why does this always happen to me? Why do I always get beaten? Why doesn't other people? Why, all these questions that are the wrong questions to be asking. I guarantee you those were going through his head. But he chooses instead, and that's what I'm encouraging us to do today, is let's choose the right questions. If you don't know what the right question is, spend some time to find what is the right question to answer in this situation. A majority of times, you can lead it back to this question. But does it really matter? Does what just happened really matter? Does the fact that she said this or he did this, does that really matter? And once we're able to answer the right questions and find that resolution in ourselves, we find that A, our lives are a little bit more easier to live. The pain's not quite as bad. But the biggest thing is, we keep on track to hitting our goals. So today, I encourage you, if you are finding yourself in this place to where somebody or something has happened to you, and it has really overwhelmed you and discouraged you, I want to encourage you, find out what your passion is. If you know what it is, remind yourself of what that passion is. And then pull out from yourself and your situation just a little bit and take a larger look to prioritize what happened, does it really matter? And then start taking actions to get yourself motivated to get back on track with your passion, to find a way. I hope that you found this talk helpful today and has helped maybe encourage you from where you're currently standing. Hit that like button, mash the subscribe button, give me some of the love, and I look forward to talking to you next time.